Hey everyone, this is Lori Mueller coming to you on Sunday, May 15th for another session of Sunday Stampin' Dreams with Lori. And I have missed you all so much, so I took last weekend off because I had committed to going home, traveling home to my parents' house to celebrate two occasions. Mother's Day, and so for all of you who are a mom in some form or fashion, that you take care of children or that you gave birth to children or fur baby moms, I hope you all had a great weekend. And then the second occasion was my parents' 60th wedding anniversary, which, you don't hear about much too often anymore. And so it was a great milestone to celebrate and gather with them. Mom just wanted just the family, so we didn't do any big hoopla or anything. Hung out at the farm. We all went to church together, and then I made some dessert and brought that up, and we did pictures and just something that was close and remote to the family. So I thank you all so much for your patience and letting me have that time with my family. But I'm back and I am ready to go because there is so much in our new annual catalog that I want to share with you. And so all these dreams are just rolling around in my head on what to create. And of course I can't do it in one setting, but I can try. So what I'm going to share with you today is the project that I included in my catalog mailing. For those of you who do receive a catalog or who have requested a catalog from me, you know that you got a little special treat included, and I am going to remake that tag. It was a tag that was attached to a piece of chocolate, but then I'm also going to share how versatile it is to apply towards a card. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 that if you didn't want to make my project that I'm sharing with you today as a tag, I'm going to share how you can convert it into a card. So super cute. So hi Holly, hey Lisa, oh my gosh, Chris, so good to see you. Thanks for joining me. And plus I'm showing off a number of tools. There are some new dies that are included that I was so excited to get, and do a little sneak peek of it with my project. And then I've got some tips and tricks on using the Stamparatus, because when I had almost 70 catalogs that I mailed out, which meant that I had to make 70 tags for these chocolate pieces that went in the catalog. So I needed to utilize my time most efficiently, and I'll share with you how I did that and made life so much easier for me to just boom, 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 get it cut and stamped, assembled, and all put together. So I can't wait to share those tips with you. And then also a little bit of Stampin' Up! News, that if you are a huge fan of Stampin' Up!, and I know you are, there's a great special going on right now that you can get almost $62 worth of free in-color product in your starter kit. When you purchase the $99 starter kit, you not only get $26 in free product, but we're also throwing in $62 worth of in-color product. So you don't want to miss out on this. It's amazing. And plus, you can just try it out. There's no commitments, no pressures to continue, but the camaraderie and the discount and the fun of stamping with others is what will keep you alive and going as a demonstrator. So, but there's no pressures to sell, no pressures to hold events or anything like that. You can just do it for your own personal well-being of savings in your checking account and fun in the end. So, but on that note, I think it's time to get started. Hey, Jackie, nice to have you join me. Thank you so much. So let's flip the camera and let's get started. So we have maybe a little bit more light. So this is my little project that I did for the catalogs. And they are just a piece of rectangular chocolate that I attached my tag with because I focused on the stamp set framed occasions. I just loved this little saying. I thought it would be appropriate to include this tag with the catalog. It's like, I wish you the best day ever, you know, when you get your catalog, that you can sit back, start flipping through the pages and enjoy a little piece of chocolate along the way. And this frame, which is one of the tips I'm going to share with you on how to get that all taken care of, along with the sentiment, all using the Stamparatus. I tell you, it was a great savings. Now this stamp set is not bundled with anything, but these dies right here, called the Beautiful Shapes dies, and it's item number 158046. So these dies coordinate with a number of sets, and so one is this particular set. You've got your circular that correspond with this particular dotted image right here, and then you've got your hexagon that coordinates with, there's one of the dies right here that coordinates with this particular image, that lined image. And then you've got coordinating layers that you can create. Hi, Linda. Thanks for joining me. And I'm going to share how I did my layering using these two larger hexagons. But it's a great set that you get a little bit of two-step stamping, which means that this can be inked up in a darker green. This can be inked up in a lighter green over top of this. So you get your veins showing through the lighter shade that you choose. And then you've got little accent pieces that you can use for, you know, background or adding with your leaves, or adding onto the back of the flower. And then you've got these nice little greenery pieces as well. But I just thought it was a fun set to start off with the catalog. So these were just little chocolates. They came 4 to a pack. And I loved that the wrapper was already a patterned patterned piece. So it just made it a little bit extra fun. And so that's what went in with my catalogs. So to get started, I took my tag to create this adorable card. All right, so I was contemplating what I was going to use for my card base. I did not want to focus on any of the in colors because I didn't want to be heavily, I guess, coordinated with one or the other colors. And I was using, or I am using, the Tea Boutique Designer Series paper pack. It's this one right here with all the teacups, lemons, lavender, and whatever on one side. And then there's these subtle complementary patterns that are on the back side. And when I came across this particular pattern right there, I thought, well, how fun would that be that I use one of the patterns that you can see on the front side, but when you open it up, look what's on the other side. Isn't that so cool? Because vellum is a see-through. It kind of gives you a little bit of a filter, per se, over top of whatever image you're trying to kind of tone down. But I thought, how fun would that be to write your message in here and then have this be on the back side instead of seeing like dimensionals or glue dots or something like that. But I thought that was kind of a neat aspect for adding vellum as my card base. And really, vellum is pretty durable, that it will stand freestanding on its own. It's not going to be too flimsy that it would, cave over when you try to prop it up on a desk or on a mantle or a coffee table or something like that. But I thought it's a new way of bringing light to my center focal point that just kind of enhances a little bit on it. And then my card shape measures 8 by 4. So you can get 2 of these out of 1 sheet of cardstock. And it also fits in your regular traditional envelope. So you don't have to make a special envelope for it or go out and buy something different. Stampin' Up! Already offers one that it will fit into. So super cool how you can convert one thing to the other. And I think it's time to get started on how this was all put together. So I'm bringing in the pieces that I have used for my card, and I'm going to bring those pieces in, and then I wrote things down for the card, measurements and what tools and inks and things that I used. So if you want to take a screenshot of that. Now, the one thing that I am well, I'll cover that in just a minute. So why don't we work on our tag first, and then I'll share with you the tips that I have using the Stamparatus. So I'm going to do our stamping first. So we'll do the majority of our stamping, because there'll be some other stamping that we'll be doing with our Stamparatus. So I'm going to use Tahitian Tide, and this is one of the new in colors, because if you noticed, my tag was one way of showing off all of the new in colors. We've got the Tahitian Tide cardstock plus the ink. Then we've got the Orchid Oasis that inked both of those pieces. We have our Starry Sky as the main hexagon base. We have Sweet Sorbet for our flower. And then I brought in the Parakeet Party for the punch that is part of the bow punch. So it's part of this punch right here. And that covered all of the bases of our new 2022-24 in colors. Love it. Hello, Clarine. Hey. Oh, you're at Ellen's house. Awesome. I know what you guys are doing. You're up to no good. So, all right. So we're going to start with the one hexagon. There's only one hexagon image. And we'll go ahead and ink that up and stamp that on here. Okay. So we're done with this portion. Then we're bringing in that lovely little flower with Sweet Sorbet. I just love the names that they have chosen for our new colors, but I really love this new Sweet Sorbet color too. It is so, so pretty. And it kind of reminds me of an old in color. Not so much the Strawberry Slush, but there were a couple of others that kind of remind me of this. So I'm going to just put this over in the corner, give it a little bit of pressure like that. And because I didn't give it equal pressure, we're going to stamp it one more time. And we'll go over in this corner. There we go. It wasn't quick enough. Perfect. All right. So we will set those aside. Now, normally I would take the time, but I'm not going to do it on camera, to cut this piece out because I've already done that. So I've already saved us some work and time cutting that piece out. And we are going to die cut this piece as well as the hexagon that we need out of the Starry Sky. So this will go here. Yeah, there we go. I knew I had it wide enough. And then this one will go with that one. So another new tool we have, if you haven't noticed in the new catalog, we have a brand new magnet plate. Oh my gosh, this sucker, look how thick that thing is. So there is no way that this is going to bow or warp or do whatever funny business that the older version did, because this piece of steel, look how thick that is. That is not going to warp no matter how many times you pass this through your machine. And this one is for the Big Boss. I'm calling my Stampin' Cut and Boss machine the Big Boss. The mini version for the Mini Boss is coming. It's not quite ready yet. It's going through quality control and all that good stuff. But they did want to make certain that this was ready and available at the start of the catalog. So thank heavens we have something, and it is beautiful. It is a self-healing. Now you can see that I've been playing with it a little bit, and it is so much fun. Now this tool will come, it has a set of instructions inside of it, but it has a boo-boo on it. So I will post, I think I've already posted it on my business Facebook page, that it called for adding plate number 2. That's a no plate 2, because it makes it too thick. You just want your main base, number 1, then you add number 5, the number 5 plate, and then you'll put whatever you want on there and then add 1 cutting plate. So you only need 3 plates. The main big thick one, your magnetic one, and then we're going to add our dies to this. All right, and so no more washi tape for me. Isn't that going to be awesome? I love it, love it, love it. All right, now this one is, make certain I'm over top and lining it up just right. Okay, it looks perfect. And now I've got it all set, and I can set this over top and run it through, and it is beautiful. Oh, runs through like butter. All right, and then just to show you the magnetic of it, see how strong that is? No slipping, no sliding, all that good horrible stuff. All right, so we got that piece, so I can set that aside, and we have our little die that we're going to do our sentiment with. So put my dies away so I don't lose those. And I'm trying to remember if I think I'm done with the magnetic plate, so I don't need that anymore. But we will be using the Big Boss in just a moment. All right, so we have our sentiment here that we need to stamp. So what I had done is, the part that did take me the longest was placing the die around this part. I was contemplating doing this trick with my Stamparatus, but I thought, well, I'll just kind of go with the idea of stamping all of these and then die cutting. But when it came to stamping the sentiment, that became a whole different issue. So I just took some scratch paper. I guess I should probably, I could do this. There we go. We'll just take off my that information. But I just, took some old junk mail and I die cut my hexagon, and I lined it up. Because this is a photopolymer, you need this foam, added foam layer. And these magnets are so strong. So I'm going to line up. But first, what I want to do, I'm going to take a sticky note, or you can just use some scratch paper, either one, don't matter. And I'm going to line up my sticky note underneath like that. And then I'll add my magnets. And you'll see here in a minute why I'm doing this. Okay, so this is the formality I set up to do a repetitive stamping. So I bring out my sentiment, the wishing you a best day ever, and I'm going to position my sentiment in here. Like, oh, it's sticking to, keeps sticking to my fingers when I want to pull away. Okay, so I think I have that centered in there. And then I'm going to take my plate and attach it like that. So then I have my ink. I'll do my inking over here. And I like to put an ink pad underneath that to give it a nice level surface versus going at a slant. Now what I want to do, I'm going to practice first. I'm going to take my island or the Orchid Oasis and I'll ink this up and we'll give it a practice run just to make certain that I have it centered and all that good stuff. So that's the reason for my sticky note. And it looks great, other than I noticed I didn't ink that up very well, so you can always re-ink, come back in, and re-stamp, and voila. So then what it made really fun is that I could just put all my die cuts in here and just make certain I got it in there. So I'm going to bring in my ink again and ink up the sentiment. Give it a little pressure, make certain I'm giving equal pressure. And there we go. See how that worked out? Now, I did the same thing with the Tahitian Tide label, the extra piece. What I did is I took this, I cut this out and then measured it. So it's 3/8 of an inch by 1 1/4. And I set this over top. And let's see if I can, yeah. I put that over top of those words, like that. And I'm going to now ink up just, I'm going to try and ink up just the bottom part, like that. Now, if you had a spot or whatever that you had made, that would work as well. But I do have a damp paper towel here that, because after time, you know, so much ink is going to collect in there. Now I can stamp that over top, just like that. And voila. So I was able to mass produce all of my sentiment, you know, the labels as well as this part, just like what I'm doing with my Stamparatus. I did, you know, I've probably done close to 90 of these now. And without my Stamparatus, it would have just been horrible. So if I was done for the evening and continuing the next day, I could just store my Stamparatus like this, not take it apart, and then pull it out the next day to continue making even more of them. So that's my little tip for using the Stamparatus when you're doing mass production, because I know that, you know, birthday invitations, wedding invitations, you know, a lot of those can take some time. So with the Stamparatus, there's no thought in it. You just put it into the frame and away you go. So now we can add our sentiment to the Starry Sky layer. And put that together like that. There we go. And I added the sentiment with mini dimensionals. And I brought in my basic black, the black dimensionals, because this cardstock piece is a little bit darker, even though I am going on white. It was just a nice way to use up the minis, because you get 2 sheets of these in your package of black dimensionals. And then I laid it over top of these words, just like that. All right, now, because I've already cut my flower, I need a Parakeet Party bow punch. So I'll bring this in and like that. And I love how it gives it a little bit of a curl when it punches out of there. Gives it a little dimension and texture. I'm using my glue. You could use the fine tip glue pen if you have that. I have to be a little bit light because you're not getting too much of a surface to work with to add glue. So I'm gonna kind of add that right there. There. And if it gets to be too long, you can just snip off the bottom. Depends on how it lays when you add it on there. All right, now to add it to our tag, we want some mini white ones. And just remind myself, okay, I'm gonna do this side. Do that. And that. Okay. And we'll add it to our tag for a little flare, like that. Now to finish it off, I brought in some basic pearls. And I'm going to use the smallest ones right here. And we'll just go in the center. Instead of adding 3 to that flower center, we're just going to do 1. We'll slap it in the middle and call it good for all 3 of those little, whoops. There we go. All right. So this was our tag. See how quickly that went together? And it goes, when you are whipping it out in bulk, that's the way to go. So now we're going to add this to our card. So this is our basic white, which is going to be the sentiment you're going to write on the inside. I've already scored this at 4 inches. So we'll go ahead and burnish. There we go. There. And we'll add our designer series paper. Now, because I do have a, you know what I could do? Ha, I didn't think about that. When you lift it up, I should have had it where my envelopes were upright. Oh, see, now I'm thinking. Before, I just kind of threw it on there, and I wasn't thinking very well. But if you have a pattern that has a direction to it, it, would be kind of cute, or even cuter, to add it to your card front so that when you open it, the pattern is in the right direction when they open it, like that. Because on mine, I have it upside down. So now I'm thinking, usually it takes 1 go around, right, to kind of figure things out. So before we start adding on, I want to add my white piece to the inside. So I'm gonna do that. And I have a little tip on how to get it to work underneath. So I'm laying my white cardstock over top of the designer series paper, like that. And then I will just fold down and grab it this way. So that way you don't see it from the front. So just a little tip right there that helps you figure out where to place it so it's not off-centered or, you know, peeking out. You know, you don't see any of the white peeking out. So we're now going to take our, so our new dies are deckled rectangles. Yay, I so love it. So we not only have stitched rectangles, but we now have these deckled. So it gives you this nice little ridge and like it's been distressed type of look. And I chose on my card Crumb Cake. But then we also offer this fun craft paper that I thought would be a nice added difference. So I've die cut one in both because I have my Crumb Cake on this one, and then I'm going to try the craft paper. So I've already die cut it with the second to the smallest. That's the one I used for this project. So we set this aside. But in order to make the width, the height was what I was really shooting for because I didn't want it to overpower my tag. So all I did is snipped it in half. Oh, but I did this the first time around too. I wanted to emboss this with the time-worn type embossing folder. Okay, so we'll bring in the embossing folder and we'll emboss that piece. But it won't take much to line it up. All right, so we need plate 2 in there. And I'll just throw this in here, line it up like, let's see, my cut, there we go, my cut edge is like that. And make it somewhat straight, like that. We'll plop it in there and run it through. There we go. So I have plate 1, 2, your embossing folder with the paper inside, and then plate 3 on top. All right, bring that out. And it just gives you a nice little texture that helps with the vintage look that I'm going with the vellum. And let's see, where's my cut edge? Now I'm trying to figure out what's my deckled edge. There we go. So those are my 2 cut edges. And if you're worried about centering, all I did was line up my square with my grid paper and adhered it based on the grid. So 1, 2, 3, it was just a smidgen like that. Oh, no, I need to go over here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, there we go. Like that. And so this is the edge of my vellum. Like that. Cut edge is right here. See, I wouldn't have to worry about my cut edges if I'd cut it after I embossed, but 1, 2, 3, and then a smidgen more. Like that. There. Now, to add our sentiment with dimensionals, and I'm going to use up some of these edges of the black mini sheets because it's a pretty good size. All right. I hope everyone is doing amazing. My body, my old body, is kind of feeling the aches and pains of all of the yard work that I've done this weekend. Oh my gosh, our backyard needs a lot of work, and we had brought in some dirt that we moved from the driveway where they dumped it into the backyard. And so it was about 40 wheelbarrow full of dirt that ended up getting moved, which, when you're not used to scooping and wheelbarrowing and all that good stuff. It can really weigh on you. And then yesterday we had to fix a fence post and doing that, and it was just a crazy weekend. So my body is really paying for all of the hard work that we have done. So here is the final project. So I think, oh my gosh, I really like that craft paper. Tell me what you think. This is the crumb cake on my left. This is the craft paper on my right. And you can, see a little difference in color, but when you are holding the cardstock and that craft paper, you can tell the difference in texture as well. But I really like that on here. I like both of them, but this one really kind of builds on even more vintage or distressed. So we have this tag that I originally created with the treat that went in with the catalog mailings, and then converted it to this cute little card. So, and then you've got your message that you can write on the inside right there. And you could add, stamping or a strip of designer series paper. And so I shared my tips on how to mass produce if you needed to. And yeah, so much fun. Now, if you are interested in receiving free card kits, you would receive 2 kits of 2 designs. Place a $35 order in my store using this host code, and then I will send you the instructions as well as all the cut pieces that you're going to need to do the cards. Now, I cannot send you stamped images, so like the flower and the sentiment, but if you have something in your stash, that will transition into the same layout and the same measurements, by all means, you can go for it. So, but yeah, that would be so fun to receive free card kits in the mail with your purchase. And then also don't forget that with the May starter kit, you could you'll receive for free the 5 ink pads, the in colors, plus you'll also receive a pad of grid paper, the in color cardstock. It's a variety pack of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, plus you'll receive a full package of the in color designer series paper. So out of all of this is like $62 and I think a quarter or something like that you'll get for free. All you pay is $99 for the starter kit. You get to choose an additional $26 free product of your choice. All of it's your choosing, and then this will be added on as well. And it all ships to you free of charge. So if you're looking to have some fun with a discount and continue doing what you love to do, by all means, visit with me. I'd love to have you join my family and my wonderful friends, stamping friends that are part of our community. So let me know. So I think on that note, let me see if I can flip things over and then get us down to this level. So hey Pamela, hi Kathy, nice to see you. So I hope that I shared some tips that are helpful and will help with your efficiency if you're in the market for mass production. Like I said, there's a lot of occasions, that mass production is needed, weddings, birthday invitations, graduation announcements, that make the Stamparatus just makes life so much easier. But also these new products that I've shared, especially the in colors, they're just beautiful, will really brighten somebody's day as well. So I hope you enjoyed my projects. Thank you so much for joining me on Sunday Stampin' Dreams with Lori. Again, my name is Lori Mueller. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Lincoln, Nebraska, coming to you with the love of my daily life. I love Stampin' Up! So I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye!